We are once again joined by the legendary Handre Pollard. He's come back, Ben. We didn't scare him off the first time.
No, he was thirsty for more. He loved it that much. He said, when can I come again?
Yeah. And the fact that we've been inundated with listeners' questions that needed answering, and there's only one man to answer them. Not you, Ben, Polly.
I didn't want to say anything because I knew I was just going to tee myself up for you to shoot me down, so I just went for the silent treatment.
Right. Should we get on with them? There are some questions that are out there, Polly, so please bear with.
Let's go.
It often be very random. The Q&A episodes are very random at times,
Yeah.
and some seriousness in them, but yeah.
It's the fresh Mr. Breed. Would you rather wrestle 2 Faf-sized Ebons or 1 Eben-sized Faf?
I'd rather take 1 Ibn-sized Fuff. I think so. Because I reckon 2 guys will just get me.
Yeah.
They'll be short, but they'll be Ibn, so they'll be strong.
Yeah. I'm just trying to work that one out.
Just basically someone short with like massive guns.
I'm just trying to think when I'm fighting my kids.
That's arms, by the way, people. Yeah. That is not firearms. That is guns as in biceps.
Biceps.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think 1 Faf. He's a big, like, the problem is 1 Eben-sized Faf. If he gets you arms, depends who's, like, if he's got Eben's reach or has he got his reach scaled up?
It's a real tricky one. We need more information.
That's what I mean, because if he's got like the length of Eben's arms, he'd just hold you at a distance and probably go doing, 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 like a fence post into the ground, wouldn't he? So you'd be like, right, but then if you take on 2 of them, they're quick and, yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, we'll never know.
We won't.
But which one did you go for? Just out of...
The 1 size, what?
You'll take them all, mate. You'll take them all.
Take all 3 of them. Take them all in. I'll take them all.
Is there any fights? Like, is there, like, you don't have to say who, but do tempers overspill sometimes in training with some of those big boys?
Yeah, they do. They don't fight. That doesn't go all that way to like proper fighting, but it goes. It gets pretty intense sometimes. Ibn's the one.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty short fuse, as we know. So
yeah, I know well.
Yeah, Len took him on.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Famously.
We talked about this.
Famously,
there we go.
You're renowned in South Africa as a
what's this getting
hard man.
I was just trying to pick up the ball. He kicked it. I didn't even know it was him. If I knew it was him, I'd have been, like off Happy Gilmore, where it's like, oh my God. Your head hits his chest. I didn't know it was him. So I was like, by that point, I'd already committed to it. So, and the cavalry arrived, thank God. And Bundle, and I was then nowhere
you
to be seen.
backtrack now, Ben. You backtrack now.
Yeah, well, I get, what I mean. I did say that it was going to end one way, and that was me with the red
I think
card.
Your sarcasm was lost on some of the
my
South
sarcasm,
Africa's listeners
it was
/
definitely
viewers.
lost. So I basically said, along the lines of, we all know how it was going to end. It was Eben in the recovery position and me with the red card. Obviously completely taking the piss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But some people didn't.
So it took that literally.
They thought that that's honestly what I meant. Like,
South African. What'd you say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what do you say?
It's a joke. Sorry.
I'll kill you, my butt. Like literally. So I was just like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the whole Triple R bastard's gone global, and people are starting to really believe the hype. Right, moving on. Question: which semi-final was harder, Wales 2019 or England 23?
Ooh. Yeah.
Be very careful.
I'm just gonna
do a short Q&A. This one
shouldn't take long to mention this.
Yeah. No, definitely. Listen, both are extremely tough for different reasons, but the England one in 23 for sure. With just the way the game has gone and all that, it was just harder.
But a lot of South African guys have said before that Wales is a team that traditionally have had
there's clips on the original.
Chasing the Sun,
where it's basically like Wales. They'll dig in, they'll go 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were going to be a tough team to break down, and they will not stop.
That's it, yeah. And we played such similar styles in 2019, literally the same game plan. It was tough. It was really tough, and they never went away. We struggled against them always. I know they're going through a bit of a phase now, but yeah, it's tough to watch. They're tough.
Fusky wants to know, what's your honest first impressions of both Dan and me?
Complete opposite of what I thought. So, looking at you guys,
He thought you'd be a good bloke.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you grow up and we watch you guys, we played against you guys and all that. And Cody's like very serious, like he is most of the time. And he looks that way. And then, I don't know, I just always saw you on the pitch playing rugby. I never saw you off the pitch or saw anything. So I thought, yeah, well, it's a legend and all that. And then I get to meet you and you're the biggest clowns ever. Just taking constant piss all day, every day. But it's brilliant, though. I love it.
Yeah. I'll take that as an extreme compliment.
That's a compliment. Yeah,
it is a compliment.
I'll take that, yeah. Lively Jason asks, what goes through your mind when you're standing on your mark for a kick? On your mark, right, yes.
Well, Jason, I mean, if you'd listened to our previous episode with Polly, you'd know that, but...
All right, just because you didn't listen to the previous one.
Yeah, because, Jason, you have obviously listened to it.
Not a lot, mate. Not a lot. It's very, very calm, actually. You just have your routine, go through your process, and that's about it. Mine's very simple. I walk back, I take 3 breaths, and I just walk up and kick it. But, yeah, I don't know. Not a lot, mate. The less it goes through your mind, the better you are the more confidence you have at that moment, I think.
The thing is, mate, you have a massive boot, but you make it look incredibly easy. You know, like, so let's take Freddie Stewart, for example. Right, so basically, he has still not worked out that he is not a long-range kicker because it's like a spud gun. He goes on the halfway line, he pulls out the absolute... What that kicking tee that like goes all the way like a traffic cone, puts the ball on it, hits it, and boop, about 10 metres short of the crossbar, and that's at Welford Road, Matiola Woods Welford Road pitch, which is short anyway. Like
me and Marla would spend most of the captain's run day before a game hammering Freddie because he'd come out as the long range kicker and he'd be kicking it from in front of where the normal kickers would be kicking from.
He would be, And also,
you're a long range kicker, but you're kicking it from shorter distance than the actual kicker, mate. You're not a long range kicker.
And then you have Elliot Daly's obviously got a big boot. Yeah. So then whatever you do, Freddie, Elliot's got it anyway. Like Elliot can kick it further and more accurate than you. So I don't know what you think of.
It's like I'll gladly give Fred a kick, but mate, I just have no confidence in him. Like like you just said, like it goes on the halfway line, it's 10 short and it's 15 to the right, and it just never fixes it. It's the same thing every week.
But maybe you have to do it though at some point. Just humble him and be like, yeah, go on, take the shot. Yeah, misses it, and then then it'll be it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You need to make him quit it basically by going, you are not right. Go on, have your moment. Yeah, hooked it. Right, you're never getting that chance again for as long as I'm here.
All right, next season, that's it.
But you do make it look incredibly effortless, which could be a number of things. I don't know, but like, was it something that you just always did growing up? Was it something you liked? Like what? Like just kicking in general, like that goal kicking, because like Paul, you don't practice loads. When you hear stories about, obviously, a lot of people
did you practice loads? Yeah. And now you got to a point where you're happy with just the feel of like, I can hit a couple, I know where I'm at, or has it always been?
No, when I was younger, it was a bit more. Nothing like outrageous, not hours and hours of kicking, not at all. But now these days, to be honest, I kick so much less because of my body and stuff. It's sore after weeks, and you just can't, and my back and all that. So I know exactly what I have to do, and I just do that, and I go on. It's I used to kick a lot when I was younger, in Pretoria especially. That's where I think you learn to kick the balls further, is because of the altitude. So you don't have to murder the ball there. It goes 60 meters by just stroking it at 80%, which helps a lot because a lot of guys, especially on next to the coast, they try and kill the ball and they just end up kicking it all over the shop and not hitting it as far anyway. So
Freddie Stewart.
That's it. I'll take Freddie to Pretoria for a couple of weeks. Maybe kick that a bit, and we can bring him back. And then sort of just, But I wasn't like a big kicker when I was younger, to be honest. I fancied myself as a reasonable running threat, but I mean, times have changed, doesn't it?
No, you still got it, mate. You still got it. You still got it.
It's that, mate.
It's even, we'll tell a quick story. When World Cup semi-final, Polly's warming up and he's setting up his tees in the warm-up. And I'm warming up because I wasn't involved because I had a tight hammies that week. So I think I'd have started that semi-final. But wasn't able to. And but I was fit enough to warm up, obviously. But he's lining up a kick, and I've seen it, and I thought, brilliant. So I've got a ball, and I've spiralled it at the tee, knocked the ball off, but I've ran off.
How far away were you?
And he had no idea. He had no idea who had done it to him.
We had the clip. I'm going to find it. I looked for it last night, but we're going to find
the clip.
I look around, like, just see this ball from the side.
As he's literally approaching.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
For an accurate pass leg.
And I look around.
Well, it was on the floor, mate. So yeah, it was accurate.
Trademark leg.
Yeah. I was actually aiming for the mid-drift, and I knew that then the trajectory would knock it off.
Yeah, so I just looked around. I was like, "Who the hell was that?" I didn't see you at all, man. You were just
I'd gone. I'd smoke bombed.
So then 2 months later, we sat on the bus.
That
was me.
We'll find that clip. We'll find that clip.
Right, next question. We got coffee is life _SA. I promised that if you made the kick against England, I would name my firstborn after you. How upset would you be if I don't honour this promise? It's a girl, and I don't think Andre would fit her too well.
Yeah, that wouldn't work too nicely. Oh, someone just said earlier, like, we'll go Polly if they wanted to go that way. To be honest, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true.
He should call his child Polly.
I won't keep it against you for sure. No,
he will. He will. Polly will. Polly's fine.
The fresh Mr. Breed. Can you see yourself coming back to SA at some point?
That's the second question he's asked.
Is it?
Yeah, first one.
Greedy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Committed.
does he mean in rugby, or does he mean just in general life?
Yeah.
At some point, will you come back and visit your family?
Yeah.
Look, I'm assuming he said,
Come back to play.
come back to play.
Is what I would, as in play for a club side.
Yeah, but we can do what we want on this.
Yeah,
show.
I know, yeah,
so we
yeah,
can just interpret it as he meant. Is it at some point? At some point, will you ever revisit South Africa? And then at some point, will you
Visit South Africa.
Will you ever play? Well, he's basically asking, will you ever go back?
I'll definitely go visit for sure. But play, I don't know, man. It's we'll have to see. It's the game is changing all the time and stuff and contracts. It's opportunity. It's not always in your hands, is it? So we'll see. I would enjoy it one last season there, just to have some fun back home. That would be fun, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. You can't say.
How do the South African boys find playing in Europe? As in, like the European Cup and those kind of stuff now. How do those boys find it? And
yeah, no, I think in general they enjoy it. I think it gets tough on some guys when the families get bigger and all that, and you're away from home so much. I sort of feel that's how it's going at the moment. Once you have 2 or 3 kids, the guys tend to go back because it's just a lot. So, but they enjoy it. I mean, we love playing in these big games and Champions Cup and all that. It's the best club comp in the world. So, but again, Japan's becoming a big league now, and a lot of our guys are there because it really works out nicely into our seasons, and you get more time at home. So, France is going to be tough for guys to go to. It's just too long. So, yeah, but boys enjoy it. It's really good.
Super Rugby must have been fun back in the day.
Oh, mate, it was the best.
Yeah.
The old proper Super Rugby was just, because it was explosive. It was 20 weeks. Every weekend you play. You go on these nice 4-week tours to Australia, New Zealand, where it's not like when you go for internationals. That's different. It's nice, it's fun, but Super Rugby, we used to go 4-week tour. So we'll stay down in Queenstown for 2 weeks in New Zealand. We'll go Monday, Tuesday training, Wednesday off. So Tuesday night we get on it. Wednesday off.
altitude bar.
Yeah. Thursday, just like captain's play. Friday, then whole weekend off. You're just having a good time.
On the piss again.
Yes. So you did that for 4 weeks in a row. And it was just brilliant, man. It was just so fun. And and it was intense. Super was intense, man. It was, you lose the first 2 games of the season, you're like, oh shit, we're almost out of it. You got to it's just so intense. And New Zealand teams were so good those years. But it was so fun, man. It was so good. I actually miss it, to be honest.
It must have been like, because obviously playing for the Bulls, they had a huge history in terms of Super Rugby. In fact, they made your top 10 teams, didn't they? So there must have been that expectation there. With other clubs, you almost think it's just a great...
Yeah.
It's basically a glorified sort of tour where there is actually expectation there.
Yeah. No, there was. We never quite got the job done when I was there. There was just too many really good New Zealand teams. It was tough, man. But no, it was just, like I said, it was fun. It was proper, like, very tough rugby. And I think all the countries involved got a lot out of it. And you can see now with the Super Rugby now, I think they miss the South African teams because we just brought something different to it. So, yeah, but I mean, again, the game's changing every year, and we had to do what we had to do in South Africa to survive. So,
You must have been on the road a lot with Super Rugby. You go for a month, and then the Springboks obviously playing the Championship. It's not like, say, Europe where it's everywhere's a 2-hour flight or hour flight. Like, were you on the road a lot?
Yeah, a lot. And the last couple of seasons with all the teams that came in. So we had a 4-week tour to Australia, New Zealand. Then we had a week to Argentina. Then we had a week to Singapore or Tokyo to play there. It was a lot of travel in and out. And again, like it's not a 10-month season like it's here. That's 7 months, everything, playoffs included. Boom, you go and it's done. So it was a lot, but fun. really fun.
But then when you add in that, and then you obviously had the Rugby Championship, then you have the autumn tours here. Actually, people probably don't realise how much time you spend away from home.
Yeah, we were abroad probably 4 months a year in those years. That's abroad. That's not in camp in South Africa or anything like that.
That's just away.
That's just abroad. So it was a lot, yeah. But it was fun those days. We were young. So we made it fun.
I bet it's good crack. Cole, did you ever back yourself as a Super Rugby player?
No.
Well, that answers that one.
It's kind of like, what teams would I suit?
Yeah, what teams would you have suited? You probably the Bulls.
Yeah, you probably have to touch your ball playing with the balls, don't you?
I don't know, mate. I could see you. Like South African team would be your pick. I
The Julian White played Super Rugby.
did not know that.
Yeah. He went to one of the New Zealand franchises, I think.
Did he? Genuine? I did not know that.
Let me find out. Yeah, I think he basically went over there on a gap year or whatever it is and ended up playing Super Rugby.
Tell you who did play Super Rugby?
Go on.
Burnsy.
No,
Oh my God.
Oh, how could I forget, mate? I got told enough about it. Right, yeah. Should we... sorry, slowing everything down. I swear he played in...
Come back to it.
Crusaders.
Oh my word.
Julian
In
White played
1997, Julian White played for the... he served Rugby apprenticeship. This is from Wikipedia. Oakhampton, Plymouth Albion had a spell in New Zealand with Hawke's Bay and Canterbury Crusaders. He made his debut for Hawke's Bay in 96. And he made his only Super 12 appearance as a replacement for the Crusaders against Natal and Christchurch in April 1997.
Bloody hell. I'd never would have thought that.
Wow.
Trailblazer, mate.
What I'm waiting.
You'd never hear of those like people going there.
No.
Well, now these days are one or two, but in the olden days it was just not even an option.
No.
It wouldn't happen. A pool shark wants to know, what is your favourite test match you've played in?
Ooh, that's hard. That's hard. I can't give a specific one, but for me, it's playing versus All Blacks in New Zealand
Yes.
because of the hostileness and the toughness of it. That's where you get tested to the max, I believe. So, yeah, those games.
If you were to play the All Blacks in New Zealand, what would be your favourite place to play? Obviously, it's Eden Park, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's all that, but yeah, for me, it's just Wellington because I've got good memories and bad memories there. And I've played them 4 times, I think, there.
Right.
Well, so, yeah, for me, it's just a great place to play.
South Africa have the best record against New Zealand. Why is that?
The history's there, but of course the history's only there because of what happened in the past. So I don't know, man. It's just always been since '95, with of course pre that and the old tours we did with the flower bombs there, and it's just always been this big thing. But then '95 is sort of where it's changed, and it's just I don't know. It's just there's a lot of respect both ways there, but for us that's the game. In our minds, that's the game. Every year, that's the game. We've got to win that game. And I'm sure they feel the same way to a point, but maybe not as much. I don't know. I'm not in their shoes, but I just think we just love that challenge so much, and we fancy ourselves against them. Not always. I've lost 57-0 to them in New Zealand, so it's not always that. It doesn't always go well, but yeah, it's just for us. For us, it's the greatest test of where we are and what we can do. So yeah, I don't know. We enjoy it.
Agreeable Poem wants to know, which players do you dread playing against?
Loads of different ones. I think it was all in the previous generation. I would say it was like the half of the 2015 All Black team. I would say like the Nonus, the Sonny Bowles, McCaws, Reeds, Prime Reed, Kano. Those guys were tough and physical. And the thing is, they, apart from having this unbelievable skill set, they matched us physically. That was like our thing. We are physical, and then they just come and match us, or even overpower us at times. So that was tough. And the modern day, you don't fear anyone. I don't know, but a guy I found playing against him is Artie these days, Artie Sevilla. Again, we'll always refer back to them because we play them so much. It's the guys, we measure up against them more often than not. So his explosiveness and the way he plays the games is unreal at the moment. So it's probably saying at the moment he's one of the toughest guys to play against.
The thing with those classic New Zealand teams is they're just so technically well drilled. They kind of negate they're physical and they're tough and they stand up to you, but like you look at the breakdown and stuff, they're like 3 inches off the ground, like clearing out. The tackles are like literally axing everything. They're just technically like brilliant, you know what I mean? And that's where you look at them, like combine that with the toughness that they've got. They're not the biggest blokes in the world, and so you look at them, they're not like monsters like you have in South Africa or even like Northern Hemisphere. They're just so well drilled.
Mate, it's like off the top of my head, so I could be wrong here, but when they played Ireland in the quarterfinal of the World Cup 23, the first passage, I think they kept the ball for around 30 phases, and they led to a penalty or something. But their ability at the breakdown, how low, the efficiency, like they're incredible.
The speed into position, literally,
unbelievable.
Like, two blokes, boom, ball's available, and they go. But that's like a classic sort of New Zealand. Like you think back to those teams that won back in 2011 or stuff like that. Like you just think of those teams. I remember classic. You talk about like there's one game.
Was it the game where was it Willie LaRue got slap tackled? That was a great game.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Ellis Park. But the thing is, everyone thinks about the All Blacks in terms of like the tries and everything like that, but they forget about how good they are at the basics and the.
But there's one game I can't remember
good
when it was, but I remember Blackies both was playing. It must have been like in Invercargill or something like that. And this game was a war. I think it was like the opening game of the Championship or Tri-Nation it was. And these two teams are just battering the hell out of each. I think South Africa ended up winning, but you just watch it and it's like New Zealand can go toe to toe, but they're just, you know what I mean? Yeah, they are exactly that prime New Zealand team. You're like they are as a phenomenal, like tough blokes that like just are so well drilled and technically spot on in axing or getting over the ball, that kind of stuff. And you're like they were,
but they bring you to I suppose a physical state where you're chucking everything at them, and they're like propelling it.
Yeah, repelling it.
They're repelling it, and you're throwing it and repelling it, and then like one mistake, and they go. You drop it, pass, try, and you're like, oh, how? Yeah. How? Like, you know, you chuck the kitchen sink at them, and they've just literally, boom, in a moment, one mistake, try. Yeah. It's like phenomenal.
What's like last say, even going back further, like was it Lions in 05, whenever it was?
Cool, you are going back.
Yeah. I remember watching it on TV, it's like whatever it was. But like, I think it was the second test, Lions came out of the blocks, 5 minutes for everything, gave away a penalty, and like New Zealand knocked the ball and Lou went pass, 60-metre score, and then this test match is gone, you know what I mean? But they have that ability, don't they? Just literally turn one of the few teams in the world that can literally just make a turnover ball into a try and like demoralise you in that regard.
Marco wants to know, what was the feeling like when you got called into the last World Cup to replace Malcolm Marx?
I'm surprised, very surprised, but
did you think you had to play hooker?
Yeah,
it's just on the airport.
Yeah,
he's been enjoying. He's not been at the World Cup. He's been rehabbing, but apparently he's blown out. Like when you did your knee, didn't you blow out to like massive
110? Yeah,
110.
Yeah. That's what Botswana and Brandy. Yeah, I was surprised, but of course very excited. Just great to go back into the squad. Of course, I didn't know what my role was going to be, but I was just really excited to be back with the boys and be a part of it. You know, once you're out of it, you only realize again, like anything in life, what you're missing out on. So yeah, I was very excited.
Tate Alf Robinson asks, "How do you train your nerves? I'd love to know how you play that well under pressure."
Well, Tate, what I tend to do is back my. Oh, you mean Andre?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Sorry. I just assumed, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Again, if you listen to the first episode, Tate,
yeah,
you can get it. But no, it's. I think it's just something. It's a combination of a few things. I would say it's just getting into those situations as often as you can in training or games. When you grow up, you get more comfortable in them, and yeah, just make peace with you're not going to get it. I think if it doesn't happen, don't put too much pressure on yourself because you trust your process, you do your thing, but. Make peace with the fact that it's not always going to go well. And I think that helps a lot with the pressure. Makes you calm down quite a bit.
I think when, like, for people watching or in the stands and all that, what are pressure moments? Let's say, like, you scrum 5 minutes from your own line, a kick that I've got to clear, a goal kick for you, you're holding the ball, it's the last passage times. You don't understand the magnitude of it, do you? Because we're an autopilot. It's what we do. Yep. So it's not like, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's what you want to do. It's what you know. It's. There's
a balance between, say, my position, let's say 5 minutes. It's a balance between not overthinking it, but you're like, I've got a scrum, I've got to do the certain checkpoints I have to do, like you want to be low, blah, 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 blah. I need to make sure people around me are involved. But then you don't want to be sort of overthinking it in regards to you need to get this position here, this, bind everything correctly, because otherwise you don't do the task. So as you say, it's a bit of autopilot. There's a bit of sort of like the pre-checks going into it, like make sure everything's fine. But then you are literally just in the flow of the game in some regards. And so it's a strange, I say, you're not overthinking, but you're not underthinking. You're just doing. You know what I mean?
I do know, yeah. It's like if we're attacking and we know like the clock's like nearly on the red and you go multi-phase, you're not thinking, oh my God, the clock's on the red.
No.
And you're just thinking about like, we're trying to score, we're trying to, like you're in it. So you don't really.
Yeah. I think that comes from obviously, I think, probably deliberate practice in some regards of trusting yourself, and also at the same time being in those situations over and over and doing them and getting and failing sometimes and succeeding in others, isn't it? So it's all but nerves and stuff, I think, like, again, I've said before, it's like nerve, as long as you accept your nerves. You sometimes get nervous for games, I get nervous for games, but as soon as the game starts you're sort of into it, so nerves aren't a problem, providing you just sort of go, oh yeah, I'm feeling nervous, fine, it's how, you know what I mean, it's acceptance of how you are and just get on with it.
Bill wants to know, how are England rugby perceived in South Africa?
Like, listen, in South Africa, we don't like the English a lot. With rugby, like, we just got brought up that way.
I like the way you covered that in rugby. We don't like the English. Full stop, pause. In rugby.
Yeah. But that's just,
Mate, it's absolutely fine.
Fine,
Being English, we're used to going anywhere in the world.
I don't think anyone likes it in the world,
yeah. I have to go across two borders. A couple of hours drive north and a bit longer than a couple of hours. Yeah. And north, east, west. And we're disliked. So,
anyway, we get brought up that way. We don't have a choice. That's just what gets told to us. So it's there's that. But I think South Africans always respect England in rugby sense as being tough. Always being tough. And never shying away from a challenge. It's through the years it's shown that, and I think the people see it that way as well. I do think, though, they see the style of play a little bit more of, let's say, a bit more shapy. You know what I mean? Especially attack and all that. A bit more shapy, running shape, especially like in the Prem. There's a lot of that. And people that really like watching rugby watch the Prem as well as back in South Africa. And they see that, and they see it a bit more as a shapy sort of attack where we just sort of, we're physical and then it's off the cuff and we play turnovers. They see it a bit that way, but they definitely see it as physically, it's going to be a tough game every single time. And it's a lot of, I think they don't like the English, but they respect them, if I can put it that way. Yeah.
And when so obviously summer tour, Ireland, but when England come over, is there another sense of like excitement? You know what I mean? It's like, obviously when you have New Zealand in South Africa in a game like that, that's obviously is the biggest without doubt. But, is it people look forward to having the English come to play at Ellis Park and all that, and it's like you know what I mean? No,
absolutely, they do. They really enjoy that, and I think recent history is just going to add to that going forward with the World Cups and the playoffs and the stuff we've had now. I think people really enjoy it.
Wallopy Joe asks, can you appreciate what Japan beating you in 2015 did for them as a rugby nation?
Yes.
There is a question I was just thinking, though, like, there's an alternative universe where, say, like, if South Africa win that game, potentially Eddie Jones doesn't become England coach, neither does Steve. You know what I mean? There's like an alternative reality where if almost like Japan don't win that final line out and peel or whatever it is and score, that English rugby is totally different, Japanese rugby is totally different. South Africa still win World Cups, but like, you know what I mean? It's had probably a massive more effect on the English game than it has anywhere else.
Coley, that is so wise. Wise, isn't it?
That's unbelievable. We can appreciate that.
He set us up, basically. They were like, right.
They could see into the future.
They were like, right, 2015, lose to Japan, right? Yeah. Eddie will go to England. We'll meet them in 2019. Yeah. We'll do them.
Yeah.
We'll get sacked off and we'll get Steve and then, All right. To answer the question, I mean, at the time, not at all. At the time, it was just like absolute heartbreak. But when we got to Japan in 19, that's when we actually only saw what it did. And mate, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? To see that sort of country develop so much in that short period of time. Yes, brilliant. so good. In 19, when we were in the lifts, so we rock up at the hotel for the quarterfinal against Japan, and the nicest people in the world. You can't hate them, can you? So first thing is, we get into the lift, and there's this big TV, and we look, and we're like, what? And it's literally the highlights reel of the 2015 game they beat us playing on repeat in the lift. I was like, oh, you cheeky bastards. And then the next one, we try and log onto the Wi-Fi, and it says Brighton 1, Brighton 2, Brighton 3. That's where they dished us up. We were like, oh, screw you guys. All right, fuck you, I'll get you. I didn't think the Japanese had that in them, but clearly they did.
Trolling you, mate.
That's so
brilliant,
good. Yeah, I didn't think they'd have that. I didn't think they would be like that, but fair play.
Yeah.
It didn't work out for them, did it? But
No. How were you received in, like, apart from, but like, I mean, I think like rugby in general, like we probably got a good end because Eddie Jones was England coach, and like he's loved, and so England were loved. How was South Africa? I mean, for the listeners and stuff, like Japan, I think was excited for the World Cup and sort of got behind everything. But with South Africa, how did you, when you went there? Obviously, you were the team that helped spark that in the sort of wrong way. But were you perceived as were you loved there, or were you sort of a bit more standoffish?
No, I think it was very good. I think it was positive. And I think a nice thing was we played them in that warm-up game 2 weeks before the World Cup started in Japan, which was a nice sort of day.
Yeah.
Played, good game of rugby. They sort of enjoyed having that opportunity to watch that. And then since then, they sort of adopted us as a second, third team if they didn't go through. So that was very nice. We really enjoyed their support.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Sputnik Boy says, hardest tackle you've been hit by?
Wayne Vermeulen in 2018, Super Rugby. Kick long, Newlands, old Newlands. They kick long, straight down my throat. I thought, yeah, I'll have some of this. Run it back. So I saw Damien Delaney, my mate, in front of me. So I was like, I didn't want to really do that. So as I stepped to my right, Dwayne was waiting for me. I didn't see him at all. And he just murdered me. Wind out, lying there. Oh, and he just stood over me laughing at me. Mate, honestly, he just killed me. That was definitely easily the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. You can hit that guy, mate.
Yeah, I mean, he is dense. In South African listeners, that can be interpreted as two things. Yeah. Dense in English is basically broad, strong, barrel chest. Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Did you when you said you're running your mate, did you not want to show him up by sitting him down or doing it?
I tried that 2 minutes before, and he dished me up as well. So I was like, no, not today. Yeah, and then it just went from bad to worse. Honestly,
were you like, when you get hit, were you like as in on the floor? Were you like, fuck me, like?
Yeah, I just dropped the ball. It's just God, mate.
Were you out? Were you out cold?
No, I wasn't out cold, but I was just like, I couldn't get up. I was just out there. Medic came. It's just God, mate.
That's the worst. Like, where's the pain? Like, just winded.
Yeah. No.
So it's when you can breathe in but you can't breathe out. It's like,
yeah.
I got hit by Murray. You remember Murray Fassavalu?
Yeah, the Quins.
Yeah, Quins flanker.
Did he get you?
Yeah. I think the 9 passed me a ball a bit high, so as I reached for it, he absolutely creamed me.
Couldn't have been me.
That's why I didn't touch the ball anymore, Polly.
Must have
but I was
tight
literally couldn't. I was like, don't show any pain. Gasping for air. I was like, I think I'm going to pass out here. I can't breathe out. And it's like, oh, God.
I've been clobbered a few times. There's one I got hit so bad, I ended up being sick on the pitch. Like I was, it got me so good. Just literally wrapped around his shoulder. Late. It was late. I was relaxed.
That's it.
Yeah. If I wasn't
a core was next.
Yeah, if I wasn't vulnerable, I'd
yeah.
Been the other way around. What goals do you have left in rugby?
Win something in England or Europe with Leicester. That'll be amazing. That'll just be really. I think it could be amazing if you win something with this club. So do that, and then just try and for me, just try and be in the Springboks squad for the next 4 years. I really want to try and play one more World Cup, so it's not always in our heads. But if you stay healthy and play well, at least you're in with a shot. So that'll be the goal. Yeah.
Ringo wants to know, where do you buy your braai meat from whilst in the UK? And do you and Montoya ever do it together?
No specific, mate. Just get my meat wherever I can at the local butcher in Harbour. And actually, me and Julian have not had a a barbecue, South African braai or Argentinian barbecue yet.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we both became fathers pretty recently, and it's been a crazy time. So we'll have to get that done.
I spoke to Montoya the other day, and he said he's was like, how was the weekend? It's like, I had a barbecue. I'm like, oh, of course. He's like, it was the only second ever one he's done.
Really?
Because he reckons as he's been over here, he's always had like Thomas Lavadini and like
I heard about Thomas
Maroney,
stuff
like literally cooking whole sides of beef and stuff. But like Maroney and stuff like that would be because they're experts. I was like, yeah, it's also because you're the captain and you've told him to do it, haven't you? Yeah. But like he's literally like, he has my second ever barbecue, so he needs to up his game. I'm going to shame him on this. But,
there was a time where the rugby championship and you all guys staying in the same location, wasn't it? You, the South African, the Argentinians.
Oh yeah,
and they were having barbecues, but they're all sort of very serious. Whilst you lot were having a great time.
We're in Australia on the bubble. Every night, so they had their section of the hotel, we had ours. Every night, we'll be playing poker or whatever, and they'll just sit outside at the fire. It's angry human beings. They are, mate. Like, geez, they just sit around the fire pit, angry. Like, all right, cheers. Walk past, hey, sipping their tea. Yeah, interesting people, Argentinians. I love them, though. But
yeah, they're all fire and brimstone, aren't they?
James asks, what's it like knocking your club mates out of the World Cup? 2 tournaments on the bounce.
Well, again, James, if you'd listened to our previous episode,
James,
you'd know that.
He loved it. Oh, yeah. Couldn't get enough. Yeah, actually, James. So listen to that episode.
Well, if you didn't listen to the episode, it's a weird feeling. We spoke about it. It's a weird feeling, and you're very happy and very sad at the same time. Like, it's just a weird feeling. So, yeah, that's all I can say, really. Then,
and also, you're not really thinking about like your goal is to win the World Cup, and everyone there wants to win the World Cup. So it's not like they say your club mates, you're sad for them, but you're not. How do you put it? You're thinking about the bigger goal of winning the World Cup rather than. And everyone understands that because you win or lose. So
you're just respectful of your mates, aren't you?
Yeah, like, exactly.
You know, you are obviously delighted you've won, but equally respectful of your teammates because you know that they had the same goal that you had.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like that, isn't it? Miso ramen soup. Interesting name, that one. You're a world-class player, World Cup winner, handsome, down-to-earth, and seem like a decent bloke. He is a decent bloke, I confirm that. Could you give us some negatives to make us feel better? Maybe you're a shit singer.
Terrible singer.
Good drinker.
I won't say good. I love it. I'm not good. We'll find out pretty soon. Yeah, I don't know what to say, mate. Yeah.
What are your flaws? I think they're asking.
No, I've got numerous flaws, like anyone. My wife, can we get my wife in? She'll
just give Maurice on. She can reveal all.
Oh man, I'm terrible at fitness. If it's around rugby stuff, oh my word.
How fitness is,
mate,
shocking, isn't it? Some lads are phenomenal at it.
Yeah, some guys are really good, like just good at it.
Yeah,
and they struggle maybe with the rugby stuff at times, but some guys can just keep. I don't know.
Yeah, I think when you're employed to play rugby, I think I'll take the rugby option over being able to run a great Bronco.
Right, so basically we found out there are no negatives about you.
Shut up.
there basically isn't any.
So yeah, there is nothing anything negative we could ever say about Polly. So therefore, thank you, Miso. Danny Boy says, over the years, there have been a number of South Africans playing for Leicester Tigers. Do you think Leicester has a club culture and a play style that's attractive to South African talent?
Yes, definitely. Just the whole belief, like the whole club and how they see rugby and treat people. I think firstly that's the most important. They treat people well, and then I actually think the rugby philosophy and how they see the game is pretty similar to South Africans in a lot of sense. So it's just I think any South African will just fit in like a glove here. And I think if you speak to every South African that's been here, they'll say how much they've enjoyed it. Well, that's certainly the feedback I've gotten from all the South Africans I've spoken to. It just really aligns pretty well, I think.
The club is based around, there's a certain sort of physicality, and I think South Africa, the way they play the game, and we've had so many great guys fit into the club, like, say, Jasper, yourself, Handre, that come in. I think it's also probably, Leicester's not very flash, and sometimes I get the appreciation of like the South African players, like you play the game, you love the rugby, but there's nothing, you're not trying to be celebrities or anything like that, you know what I mean? It suits Leicester down to the ground, and I think that's... I think from a Leicester point of view, we've been spoiled with some of the South African talent we've had and how much guys have added to the team.
How have you found life in England? Because, you know, having not been here before, I obviously only toured here. How have you found life in England? And I suppose like the England culture, like how English people are and all that, you'd only ever had like a perception, I suppose. Sort of, yeah, insight to that.
Oh, it's been brilliant. Like really, really good. I think, listen, there's a load of South Africans, of course, living in London, especially, and in England. So we've got loads of mates that we grew up with that live here that sort of told us stories and that. And I feel both countries enjoy, like, you guys go to the pub, we bribe, but in essence, it's the same thing of getting together, having a few beers and laughing and having a good chat. And that's, both countries have that in common. And I think that's why we also sort of slot in here pretty easily. It's the weather is a complete 180-degree turnaround, but you can deal with that as long as you've got people around you and you can enjoy yourself. And we've just loved it. I mean, I was in France for 3 years, which I didn't enjoy. So I think just coming here was such a breath of fresh air and just really, really fun. And we love it. My wife loves it. We love it. We just had our kid here, and it's a place. One day when we leave, we'll definitely miss it a lot. I'm pretty sure of that.
I think because, you know, you think about it, obviously you did your Super Rugby with the Bulls. You played in Japan, didn't you? You've done France and you've done England. Yeah, it's just kind of, you've seen sort of the rugby world as such.
Really poetic, that, man.
Yeah, I thought I was quite impressed with myself there. Right, to finish up, we've got for the love of rugby questions, which we always ask our guests. Take it away, Collie.
Right. Who was your first rugby crush / who was your player you had on your bedroom wall?
Oh, I didn't have anybody on my bedroom wall, but if I had to, it would have been Dan Carter, definitely. Growing up Southern Hemisphere, he was in his prime when I was a kid, so yeah, it's good to watch that.
And then obviously the first time you then played against him, and suppose in a test match.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was weird, man. That was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. He's a top man. He's a nice guy to play against. Like, he's always up for a chat. It was for me as a youngster, looking up to your idol and playing against him. It was pretty nice. And yeah, we played each other a few times in Super, the Crusaders, and then a few test matches. He broke our hearts in 15, right in front of me, kicking drop goals and kicking it from everywhere. But in a sense, it was pretty cool to see, actually, your hero doing it to you. Yeah, it's shit, but it's actually cool to see front row seat to what he did for such a long period of time.
Like a masterclass.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So you got one of his jerseys?
Yeah, got one of his jerseys. So
that's pretty cool, isn't it? You've like grew up you get to play against someone like an iconic figure that you've sort of watched, and then actually play against, like you say, have that, and then actually swap jerseys as well. That's pretty awesome, Paul. What do you love about rugby that no one else does?
Ooh, that no one else does. I'd say for like the common guy listening, what I enjoy about rugby is like the kicking game, chess about rugby. I mean, I pretty early in my career realized that I'm not going to be somebody that's just going to tear teams up with running fits and stepping and all that. That's not my skill set. It's not what I have. I mean, guys like Dupont can just run in circles and run through the whole team by himself, but that wasn't my skill set. So I sort of very early on decided, listen, okay, if I can't do that consistently, then what can I do? And I thought, growing up with the Bulls and playing with Frida Priya, Victor Matfield, those guys when I was young, which they had such a good understanding about kicking game and putting teams under pressure. We spent loads of time working together and developing that part of my game and managing a game, and that's something I really enjoy. Is the chess of, you're in trouble now, get yourself out, you get a ascendancy back, get your forwards going forward again, all that. It's not something pretty, it's not something you'll see often, but like, when you've done that, and that's something I really enjoy. It's
an art, and it's like underappreciated, because for a lot of people, they don't understand the tactical nous and knowledge and, like you say, the game of chess with kicking. It's not just, you don't just kick it like, say on the previous episode, what we did, you spoke about back into the game, that semi-final against England, you knew you needed to find grass, you knew that England's tactics, and that kick led to the moment that led to the scrum. So it's a huge part of the game that's so valued, where if you're in it, you know it, but for a lot of people, they wouldn't.
See, that's never going to be on Instagram, is it? It's never going to be on YouTube. It's not. It's because it's not exciting for people outside there. But of course, we understand it.
But we also do a bad job of selling like the excitement, as in there's a skill set, there's as you say, there's a thought process, there's an actual element of the skill of kicking the ball accurately, and this is an entering and getting what you want out of it that is undersold, I think, in the game, because it's literally like, oh, we haven't ran it from 80, but people don't appreciate that actually to set up something up, you have to go through certain things and get momentum back in the game and all that kind of stuff that probably the game doesn't do a good enough job of selling.
type of kick, where you're aiming it, who you're trying to move, who you're manipulating the back. There's so many things.
Which away ground do you love the most?
I'd probably say Cardiff. I don't know. The roof's closed, and then when they're playing well, it's a pretty special place, and it's noisy as hell. I've just always enjoyed it. I don't have a great record there, to be honest, but it's fun.
Oh, it's just one of the greatest places to play.
Yeah. No. So like, it always comes up on players listening. They put it on our list, wouldn't it? But say you sort of sit in that, you're almost sunk down. The stadium's on top of you. The Welsh fans are passionate as anything, especially when the Welsh team's going well.
Yeah.
And so the noise with the roof closed is it's always quite an occasion playing there as well. So it's just it's something that I think you look back in your career and you've probably enjoyed playing there because it is such an atmosphere.
It's the whole thing with the busk with the horses in front, around the corner. It's like it's I don't know. The whole vibe is brilliant.
I just don't think other places replicate what that can. I mean, Stade de France is one of I love.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourites as well. But the Principality is pretty special, isn't it? Especially like say, Paul, if the roof's closed, like wow. If you could go out for dinner with 3 players, who would they be? Obviously, can't pick Mick Coley.
I'll go with Dan Carter just because of growing up. That would be fun, and I think it's a good time from what I've heard. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun night. Another guy would probably I also grew up watching him, and this is Johnny, just for my position. I think Johnny was. The thing I loved about him was his physicality and how tough he was. Like, of course, he kicked all those goals and all that, but geez, he had something about him, didn't he? And his whole mindset. I would love to I'll never be like that. I'm my own person. I'll never kick for hours like he did. But I think it'll be an interesting conversation to have to see where his mindset was. And the last one. I don't know. Richard McCaw probably. That'll be cool. Just again, mindset. Again, we'll never have that mindset. I'm not like that, but I think it's interesting to see these guys and to really have a good understanding of how they saw the game. And like he was obsessed for 4 years. He lost all his mates just to win another World Cup. To do that, like that sacrifices a lot, isn't it? So, yeah, that'd be cool. Chat to them.
I mean, that is who's picking up the tab. That's some serious amount of money, serious wealth on that table.
Dan, probably Dan. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, Paul.
Oh goodness.
Just split it 4 ways and it'll be fine. Yeah. If you could play in any other position, which one would you choose?
I've played a bit of 12, so I'm not going to say that. But I enjoy playing 12. I think it's a nice position. I'm just not too big enough or physical enough to sustain it. But I would love to play 9. I think it's cool. I think you can have such an influence on a game because you connect everything. Everything goes through you. And I think you can really influence games. And like playing 9, I mean, I won't be able to do 20 minutes with my back. It'll blow out if I have to bend over and pass the ball all the time. But I think it's a cool position. You can have, you're in the game all the time. You never just stood there and doing nothing. So I would love to play 9, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great position. I can vouch for that. Oh, what I would ask, though, is you mentioned 12 there. Just out of curiosity, tell me the difference between how much time you feel like you got on the ball at 12 compared to when you played 10.
It depends how you're going to play, of course. You play 12 South Africa, you're going to be in crash balls most of the time. But that's also something nice because you just get into the game. You're in the game all the time, which I enjoy. Sometimes the flow of a game can take you a bit out of it, depending on how it's going. I just felt that a 12 is always involved somewhere doing something. You can create a 12, you can be physical at 12, you can kick at 12, still different kinds of kicks. It's you'd think it's so close to 10, but it's such a complete different world, isn't it? So yeah, I just enjoyed that.
I think 12 is one of those positions as well, where it's like you can have like a great 12s. I think are underappreciated in the game because like you can have a 12 that can just carry, say get across the game line. You can have a big physical one, or you can have, but like a 12 that kind of does everything. It can carry, like when you always say like Toulon winning like Europe and Gitto and stuff playing 12, and he's calling stuff and organising out the back, and as well as putting like they're just so like there aren't many awesome 12s in the world. You know what I mean? That have that all round ability to do everything. I would say. No,
I reckon one of the best I played with is obviously Matt Tamur, who was at Leicester with us for a bit, and he was an example where you could pretty much do it all. If you needed to mix it physically, no problems. But distribute, kick, organise, like it's the ability to relay information in from what he's seeing. Like, it's an art.
On your point, like if you ask anybody in the South African team who's the most underrated player, they'll say Damian Dalendi, because we know what he does, but people won't see it. But everything he does is so valuable and makes such a big difference for our team. Yeah, it's a great 12. Think of Nanu back in the day. Yes, he's a massive guy, but he had this little kicking game, distribution. Oh man, he was so good.
I say, as a full's point of view as well, is having that. Sometimes the 10's got his handful of what's going on there, but the 12, if you're in that midfield pod, like we talk about the 1-3-3-1 stuff, like the 12 organising you out the back and telling you what's going on and relaying the information, is like when you find a good one. We had Anthony Allen at the club. He wasn't like physically the best, but he could talk and communicate and tell you where to go. It just, everything flows so much better with a 12 that talks rather than, you know what I mean? And you think, oh, it's easy, you should just do that, but it's not easy, because there are plenty of 12s that can't do that or don't.
The information has to be good, doesn't
it?
it? Like, you can't just scream for the ball all the time. It's,
it's understanding space and numbers and where you are and all that stuff as well. So
definitely. Right, finally, Polly, the ultimate rugby fantasy. I'm not sure winning a World Cup will be. Tick that one off. So
Twice,
sorry.
3.
You've pretty much completed everyone's ultimate rugby fantasy. You've done twice. But man, what is, other than obviously winning a World Cup, what is Handre Pollard's ultimate rugby fantasy?
For me, the greatest thing I could ever imagine is when I've retired and I can have all my best mates from every club and team I've ever played with, have them all on the farm in South Africa for a weekend, and we just sit, talk shit, and have a few brandies. That's my fantasy. If I think of something that's out there that probably never going to happen, but that would have been cool. I would have enjoyed that, because I don't like the trophies and stuff. It's there, it's nice, but it was never for me a reason to play or do well. It's not that.
That's a cracker. I'll see you there. I'm not sure.
I'll be your +1 bet.
yeah, there we go. Sorry, Charlotte, you can't come. I'm taking Coley. Mate, that's to be fair, that is a great one, isn't it? Like I do honestly. I think about like, when I finish, it's like I want to kind of like, if I travel a bit, it's like, I'd love to go see some of the lads I played with in Fiji, for instance. Then like lads in Tonga, New Zealand.
Helps he's achieved 2 World Cups as well. Everyone's like, I want to win a World Cup. He's done it, mate.
Yeah.
It's beyond that.
He's got a good book of contacts there.
No, take that out. But yes, that's a great rugby fantasy.
That is a great rugby fantasy. Polly, thank you for joining us again, mate, as always.